Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into the channel. This is Son of Liberty. So I hope that this video finds everyone well this afternoon, and I've actually got some really great news I want to share with you guys. So I've been trying to work and open up a door of opportunity with a company based on the West Coast called Vanquest for quite some time. So I believe that I might be a little bit step closer to that. So anyway, keep your fingers crossed, we shall see. So anyway, if you have been following me on my Instagram page, one of the things that I recently shared was this 7x10 Ifak from Vanquest. And this is something I've been looking at doing for quite some time. I really like this Ifak. Anyway, I had got several requests on there to do a video review, so I thought I would take this opportunity to do a quick video and share with you guys how I've actually got mine set up. Alright guys, so I'm going to actually start here on the outside of the Ifak. I'll work my way to the inside, but this isn't necessarily going to be a detailed review of this Ifak, but you'll be able to see the features of it as I go through it. So I had actually picked this one up for several different reasons. Number one is I really like the deployability of this Ifak over the one that I have been using for quite some time. Number two, this one is a lot thinner profile, so this one's actually fitting my needs a lot better. It's lighter, takes up less weight, and I was able to put just as much stuff in this one as I was in the previous Ifak, and it's a little bit bigger. So on this side, you'll notice that I've got a tourniquet. This is the Generation 7 cat tourniquet from North American Rescue. Now, I've been seeing a lot of questions come up about, you know, what's so special about this one? What's the difference between this one and the previous generations? I'm actually going to be doing a video of that, so stay tuned to the channel and I will address those. Next, you'll see that I've got a Sharpie pen. I keep this with all of my kits. One of the things that you'll notice that I'm actually missing is a notepad, and that's actually where I'm going to put a notepad right here. There is a very generous pocket that goes all the way down to about right here, so you can actually put a good sized notepad. I can tell you, being a first responder to a lot of accidents, a notepad is what I probably use more than anything. Taking down notes for ambulance services, police officers, whatever the case may be. So I always keep a Sharpie, but the Sharpie is specifically here to write the time that the tourniquet is applied to a patient. That is going to be critical for once this patient is moved to a higher echelon of care, and goes to the hospital. They need to know how long that tourniquet's been applied to that patient. Now, whether you write it here on the patient's forehead, both the patient's forehead and on here, it's critical that you put the time down. And that's exactly what this is for. Going to the other side, I've got a small pair of North American Rescue trauma shears. I've got a CPR face shield, which is critical. You know, if you're doing CPR on somebody that you have no idea about their medical history, this is absolutely important. This thing comes with like little gear keepers, and what I've actually got behind here is a whistle. Now, this is something that you probably don't see very often in a lot of kits, but the reason for this is because if I'm in a situation where I'm trying to get people's attention, right? Maybe I need some assistance. I can use this to signal for people. I can also use this if it's just me and I'm trying to get help for myself. You know, your voice can only carry so far. You only have so much breath. You're going to run out of energy trying to scream and yell for people, and your voice will go hoarse and you'll eventually lose the ability to yell. This right here takes minimal effort, and you can blow this thing for as long as you need. And so anyway, this is just a great tool that I always like to keep with me on my kits. Now, you'll notice here at the top there's this little red Velcro tab. They have these on their kits, and I really like it. It just identifies it as a medical kit, and of course you just basically grab this handle right here and pull, and the whole thing comes open just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera, and we're just going to focus on this portion of the kit, and then we'll move on up here to the nitty-gritty. Alright, so up top you'll notice that I've got a small blade. I like to keep a small knife in all of my medical kits. You just never know when you're going to need something sharp. And this can actually double as an emergency trauma shear if I need to. maybe for whatever reason I've lost my shears or they're being used by somebody else, I've just got a small little knife. It's very sharp that I could use, in that particular situation. So I keep those in my kit. I've got some compressed H&H gauze, which is really great for packing wounds, and it's a very small kit because it's vacuum sealed. So once you break the seal on this thing, it really opens up. I've got some hand sanitizer that I keep in here specifically to clean my hands before and after treating a patient. Down below, I've got a pair of gloves, and the way that I keep my gloves folded is so that when I grab them, I'm grabbing two pairs. I'm grabbing a complete set of gloves and also two. They stay together, so if I need to toss these to somebody else to help me to come in and assist me with the patient, they can do so. This thing's a bear to get in here, so I'm going to actually leave it. This is basically just a survival blanket. Patients can go into shock whether it's wintertime, summertime, whether they've seen a traumatic, incident or they've experienced some kind of traumatic injury to themselves. Patients can go into shock, a multitude of different reasons. So this is completely critical for you to keep, in my opinion, in your medical kit. So you can save somebody's life with this. All right, let's go ahead and move on up to the top of the kit. Alright, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to start here on the left side of the IFAK and I'll work my way to the right. You'll notice that I've got an additional pair of gloves. This is important because if I need to change out my gloves because my previous pair of gloves are too saturated with blood, I've got a fresh pair. Also, too, if I've got somebody else that is willing to help me, maybe I need them to hold pressure on a wound, whatever the case may be, I've got an additional pair of gloves. So now that I've got two people working on a patient, which expedites that care. I've got a small bottle of Sting-Ease. I keep this especially when we go camping. I've got one of my boys that really has kind of a odd reaction to mosquitoes, so I keep this on hand. Here I've got what is commonly known as a chest dart or a chest decompression needle. Back behind that, I've got a very large, what I call an advanced boo-boo kit. Now you'll notice I've got some cell locks, some small packets of cell locks. This is great for those deep lacerations that, it's not going to call for, a tourniquet or something like that, but you just need a little bit extra. This is a hemostatic agent, of course, which is going to promote clotting. And I actually picked these up in the hunting section at Walmart. So these things are just a great little addition to any kind of kit. And there's just a numerous amount of just different size Band-Aids, waterproof bandages, small patches of like 4x4 gauze. Just a little bit of everything is inside of here. So anyway, so that's off to the side. Here I've got basically just a light stick that I keep in my kit. This just gives me some additional light. Maybe I need to mark a pathway, something like that. So I always keep one of those in my kit. Duct tape, small roll of duct tape, self-explanatory. You can use this for a million and one different reasons or ways. Here I've got a nasal pharyngeal tube. This is just to secure airway in a patient. So these are important, and if you've never had one of these put in, they are a little uncomfortable. So here on the top, I keep this is actually a kind of like a mobile eye wash station, if you will. You just basically break this tab off. It's got a much larger opening so that you can apply some pressure to this and get a little force behind it and wash out any kind of debris that you may have in your eye. It's essentially really Visine, if you will. So, but anyway, it's small enough and compact that I can keep here in this kit, so I do. Starting on the back, I've got an EpiPen. I've got a bee allergy, so that's the reason why I get these. And back behind this one, so you can see how this kind of opens up, there's several different sleeves here that you can add additional things. I keep several packets of this burn dressing water gel. which is really great for any type of burns, which are sometimes common with camping, those types of things, sometimes even car accidents. So I keep those with me. Back behind that, I've got some moleskin. And on this side here, it's a little tight, but I keep a small suturing kit, and I've got some other steri strips in here that was given to me by a medic friend of mine. So these are just great. You know, a lot of the stuff you can actually pick up at gun shows, so just keep your eyes open when you're out and about at gun shows, and you can find a lot of this stuff. All right, moving on here to the back. Let me just pull everything that's in here out. Make sure I don't have anything else left in there. I've got combat gauze, quick clot, and I've also got the dual pack of the chest seals. All right, you know, I picked this up for $10 at the last gun show, so you can pick these things up very inexpensively, and you really want to try to get one of these smaller ones. Most of the chest seals that are out there generally come in a much larger kit, and they're almost the size of one of these. So you really want to, because sometimes with gunshots you are going to get an entry and an exit wound, and so you want to be able to seal both ends. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. And then of course I also keep a clamp in case I need to actually clamp a vessel or an artery. Alright guys, so I hope that answers a lot of the questions that you may have regarding what I keep in my kits. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave those in the section down below. And stay tuned to the channel, guys. I'm going to be going over the myths of tourniquets. I'll be talking about lower and upper extremities, and I'll also be talking about the Generation 7 cat tourniquet from North American Rescue versus its previous generations as well. All right, so stay tuned to the channel for that, guys. And as always, thank you so much for your continued support, and until the next video, take care, be safe.